What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about another center as a potential draft prospect for the Chicago Bulls. We've talked about Zach Edey, we've talked about Kyle Filipowski. Today, we are going to be talking about Donovan Clingan, the UConn man, ladies and gentlemen. He's been very, very much talked about for the Chicago Bulls. And what do I think about him? Do I think that he's going to be a good prospect for the Bulls, or is it someone that we should be skipping out on with the 11th overall pick? We're going to talk all about him in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and obviously Donovan Clingan, and whether or not you believe he'll be the right addition to the team. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, and I apologize for not only him but for anybody's name that I mispronounce. Unfortunately, I don't watch these guys ins and outs every single game. I don't study their names and stuff of that nature, which maybe I should, but ultimately, you know, there's so many people to look at. It is hard to just watch full games of college basketball and just learn everything about them. But here's what I have picked up. So looking at obviously the things that we need to know about him, he's a center, ladies and gentlemen. Another center that we're talking about. He's 7'2", so a rather tall center. He's 280 pounds. He's a rather large center, and of course he played for UConn. Now, looking at his stats, he does have the worst offensive stats out of the centers that we've talked about thus far. He averages around 13 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 1.5 assists, shooting 63.9% from the field and only 25% from the three-point line. I'm assuming that's on very limited attempts, and he's 20 years old if you guys are unaware. So, those stats don't necessarily look amazing to me, but there's clearly something about this player. Look, looking at the mock drafts, there's no secret that he is listed as one of the top candidates expected to go mid to late lottery. So why is people, why are people looking at him over other center prospects? Well, immediately, the first thing I notice about him is massive defensive potential, and I think he can adjust to the NBA game rather well. Here are the reasons why. Ultimately, defensively, he has been very, very good. I mean, looking at the strengths, he has potential to be a very good shot blocker in the NBA. In my opinion, at least, this is just my opinion, out of the centers I've seen thus far, he has the biggest potential to be a shot blocker. At 7'2", he averages around 2.5 blocks per game. That's a rather good record in return. And being a shot blocker, sometimes it isn't just about height. When I look at Zach Edey, I see also massive shot blocking potential. But I do think Donovan Clingan actually gets the advantage here. Just from what I've seen, he seems to be able to get the help defense right a lot more times than not, and his timing for a block is much more improved, I think, than any center in the draft that I've seen thus far, or at least in out where it's expected to go in our range, which is very, very interesting. So I see massive defensive potential. I see a player that ultimately is very limited offensively. We'll get to that in the weaknesses side of things. But because of his ability, in my opinion, to adjust to the modern game, and in my opinion, the ability to become the best defensive center that out of this draft, that is why people are projecting him to go as high as he is going. So those are the key things about him. And I also love how hard he works on the court. He brings a great effort each and every single possession. He's not the type of guy to give up on the defensive end if someone goes by him. He's not the type of guy that's going to let people go by him in the first place. He's going to bring massive amount of effort on the defensive end. He's going to try his best to keep up with guards. He's going to try his best to keep up with centers. And if he's out of a play, you expect him to run right back into the play and try to make something happen, which is really, really positive stuff from someone so young and someone that has something to prove as well. So I like that about him, and I love his ability to run the floor. Now, we're talking about more of a center that is good about a good finishing around the rim, comfortable around the paint. Not necessarily much else, unfortunately. But a center that can run the floor will go a long way in this league. I mean, how many times have we seen a center run the floor and get rewarded for it? Those are usually the players that you want to run the floor more than anybody. If he's getting a rebound and he's passing it off, I want him to try and push through, make the defense uncomfortable, have to make them choose what type of bucket they're willing to give up. A center that runs the floor well can do that for you. Unfortunately, we don't have that in this Bulls team today. Andre Drummond is better than Vucevic at it, but I don't think Andre Drummond runs the floor I guess, incredibly well unless he's the one that gets the steal and runs out in transition. But he's still better than Vucevic. Vucevic, I don't even think really tries to run the floor at all. And that's the frustrating part sometimes when you're in transition and you know that there's an opportunity for a center to just get something so easy down the other end. You do want to see the centers take advantage of that. So far, from what I've seen, Donovan Clingan can do that. So, massive defensive potential, can run the floor and brings great effort. These are very basic stuff, but these are the things that if you do really, really well in, especially in a weaker draft, you can go high up in the lottery, which is exactly what I want to see. I want to see a player that brings effort. I want to see a player that tries on the defensive end, and I want to see a player that runs down the floor. That seems like very positive stuff to me. But alas, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. There are quite a few negatives that I want to get, I guess, into this conversation with. Number one, he's very limited offensively. I mentioned it earlier, but in what way? Well, out of all the highlights I've been watching, I've never seen him in the post, I've not seen him shoot a mid-range, and I've very rarely seen him shoot a three. The harsh reality is I don't see much offensive potential whatsoever. In many ways, it's like a Rudy Gobert type of situation. Rudy Gobert doesn't play because of his offense. He can dunk the ball, sure. You know, he can get open passes and finish, sure. But ultimately, can't spread the floor, can't shoot the mid-range, can't shoot the three. He's there for his defense. That's kind of what I see with Donovan Clingan. I see him more as a traditional big man. A big man that's more old school. A big man that's going to get rebounds, that's going to try and dunk when he gets the ball, but ultimately nothing really more on the offensive end. That's what I see when I look at him. So he's very limited. You look at the modern big man today, they have the ability to enter the post, the ability to shoot the three, the ability to try and spread the floor with the mid-range, and even the ability to dribble the ball and, you know, pass and stuff of that nature. There's a lot of weaknesses offensively to his game. In my opinion, he's the most limited offensive center we have seen. I think there's more to Zach Edey offensively, and I think there is more to Kyle Filipowski offensively as well. Much more to his game offensively, in all fairness. So, yes, those are two things that I see. Very limited offensively. I don't think he's a great passer. Don't think he's a great shooter. Don't necessarily think there's much more to him offensively other than pick and rolls, getting to the lane, and, you know, finishing with an open pass and running the floor in transition. So, don't expect much offensively from him at the NBA level. Another big weakness I see from him, it's very similar to the weakness I saw with Kyle as well. He averaged around 8 rebounds per game, I believe. And I feel like at the NBA level, there will be struggles to get that type of rebounding straight away, especially if you're not starting. I do feel the same way with Donovan Clingan as well. He's been actually listed as one of the better rebounders in college basketball, so there might be something I'm missing there, but the stats are around 7.4 rebounds per game. I'm definitely worried about how that's going to translate at the NBA level when he's playing with more physical guys and guys that are going to be rebounding a lot at a higher level than maybe he will be. So that's something I'm worried about ultimately as well. He's not the best free throw shooter. And this is a worry for me just based on the fact that if we get rid of Vucevic and we keep Drummond and we draft this guy, we're going to have two centers that can't shoot a free throw. So that means a lot of hacking, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be hacking our players and they're going to have to improve their free throw percentage if they're going to want to play consistent minutes for the Bulls. I think this is a big reason Drummond doesn't play big minutes. It's because every time he does play, he's a threat to go to the line and cost us points. So there you go. There's something else, ladies and gentlemen. And that's really all the weaknesses that I see. Now, would I take him with the 11th overall pick for the Chicago Bulls? I think he's more ready for the NBA because it looks like he's adaptable to the speed. Again, running down in transition, being able to get back into plays and stuff of that nature. He's more adjusted to the NBA level than the other centers. But if you're going based on pure potential, it's basically all defensive potential that I see with him. So do you want all defense? Because if you do, he's the man to go with. If you're looking for someone that's purely offense, Kyle might be the way to go with in that regard. If you're looking for someone that's more of a unique breed, maybe could do a little bit of both, but not necessarily exceptional at anything, maybe with the potential to become exceptional at certain things, is a bit raw, Zach Edey might be your guy. 3 different players with 3 different needs in my opinions. I don't think anyone really stands out over the other, in my humble opinion. But if I had to pick who I'd rather have, look, this guy's projected, by the way, to go ahead of the 11th pick. So there's a good chance he won't be on the board. I personally would like the other two over him, just because he has very good potential defensively, but I don't know. I feel like there's also potential with the other guys as well, and they could do just a little bit more on the court. But heck, there's a reason why he's listed to go top 10 late lottery. There's a reason for that. So we'll have to wait and see. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.